All right, so I don't want anybody getting mad at me, so we'll go ahead and walk through a little bit of the ZModeler stuff through here, and then also the countersunk little areas that we made, like maybe this side over here. So let's talk about ZModeler first. So I'm going to go through here, we're going to go into solo mode, and essentially all of this was either an IMM, so I have my own custom insert mesh brush where I have 8, 12, 16, and 32 cylinders. You can just go to BI brush insert primitives and just use one of these if you'd like, or make your own insert mesh brush. If you go to my YouTube channel and do a search for IMM brush, you'll get information on how to make those really quickly. They're really easy to do. But essentially, what I would do is I'd go through here. Let's go ahead and hide this. So I've got this object here. If I do want to do an IMM brush and I have subdivision history, sometimes it's useful to put like a null in here. So here's a polymesh 3D, and it's just a node or just an object in here. I can go through and I can just hide it. So let's go out of solo mode. So you just kind of hide this away somewhere, and then you can just use IMM curve brushes. It'll snap to any visible surface, so I don't have to worry about it. But it allows me to just put whatever I want, wherever I want, however I want. So essentially, I want to put a cylinder on here. So I'm going to go into my insert mesh brush. We'll say a cylinder 12. I'm going to pull out and then back in, and that's going to shrink it down. That's just got a function or a feature of that brush. And I'll go make sure it sticks all the way through. Because I like to work on things separately, you can see when I go into solo mode, this is a separate object from that one. I'm going to go ahead and do a split mask points. It's under your subtool split menu. And then if I go into polyframe here and go into solo, you're going to see I have just a cylinder sitting here. I'm going to go into polygroups, group by normals. That's under your polygroups menu. And now I'm going to have a blue end, a green end, or yellow end, and then a green middle. So now I can go to my ZModeler brush, BZM, do QMesh, polygroup all, and then if I just do a QMesh and pull on these faces here, it's going to add an extra ring. However, if you start pulling and then you hold down shift, it'll pull along those surface normals. That's just an easy way to go through and thicken things up. Now, if I want to add more cylinders of this, one easy way to do that is just to go ahead and say duplicate this off, and then I can scale down that cylinder here. So it's like, okay, I want a little base cylinder here. And another interesting thing is you hold down, you start scaling and you hold down Alt, that'll scale along those two axes. So that way you don't even have to go through here and say, hold down Shift and push along the surface normals. You can just hold down Alt and scale. If you want to do another one on this side, sometimes it's easy enough just to Alt tap. Go back to my standard brush here. Alt tap any subtool, hit W. You can control drag out a copy, or you can just duplicate out a copy and just move it along that here. Alternatively, you can take this cylinder here we want to borrow from and hit W, Alt tap this end, and then we can duplicate this off again, and then you can just scale from this end here. And then again, as you're scaling, hold down Alt, and you can scale out a little bit here. If you didn't have this, if we just had, say we started these, let me scoot this one in just a little bit more. We had these two end pieces, and I wanted to put a cylinder in between these two. I could just go in again to my cylinder brush, and we could say, give me another cylinder. And you just pull on here, and then I like to pull out and then pull back a little bit here. And let's see if we can make that stick a little closer to the middle. There we go. So there's my cylinder, and then we can just continue there. I like to work on things separately. So again, subtool, split, unmask points or mask points, doesn't really matter. And you just go through here, and then you've got all of these on there. Of course, putting in, you could go through here, and you could put in like a sphere right through here. And I could rotate this. You can hold down Shift if you want to rotate it to a certain increment. So I'm going to put a sphere here, and you can actually, let's go ahead and do another split mask points, and then hold down Control Shift, and grab our mask lasso, and we'll hold down Control Shift and then Alt, and just go ahead and delete that. Let's go Geometry Modify Topology Delete Hidden. Hover over an edge with our ZModeler brush, BZM, close, convex hole. Go ahead and close these out. I'm going to hold down Control Shift, isolate this end polygroup, hit Control W to make that all one polygroup, and then again ZModeler brush, hover over face, QMesh, polygroup all, and just pull that out. Then I got a nice little shape like this. And then we can go through here, and if you want to set this pivot back here, just hold down Alt and set that pivot right on the end, and now you can rotate exactly from that end and do whatever you want to. There was another piece in here. If we go back and look, I'm just going to try and recreate this thing here. So yeah, that's just attaching a sphere and then another cylinder, and then there's this cylinder right here, which again, fairly simple. All you got to do is we'll just go back to, let's turn that one off. So here's our little piece here. I'm going to go ahead and grab a cylinder here, and let's go ahead and pull that out, and we'll rotate it around just a bit. and we'll go ahead and stick this right through the object. And then once we have that, again, split mask points. And at this point, we could say, I want to have this all one piece and then split it at the very end, or we can split it now. Let's go ahead and split it at the end. So I'm going to hold down Alt. I'm going to grab these two. And instead of Q meshing, so if I Q mesh, it's going to like go out from that surface normal. I'm going to do a mask polygroup ball to mask both of those. Control Tab to invert, hit W, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate this pivot around so it's looking down the area I want to go, and then hold down Control and just pull those out, because if I let go of Control while I'm pulling, it'll just keep snapping more geometry, but holding down Control will pull out edge rings. So you can just let go. So you can hold down Control, pull out, let go, hold down Control, pull out, let go, or hold down Control, pull out, let go of Control, and just keep pulling. In this case, we're just going to pull out once, and we have this, and if we want to go ahead and add more detail to this end piece here, we can hold down Alt, and we can go ahead and, now this is where it's going to be like, well, if I want this other side to do this, just go over here and just Alt, tap here, and then say Inset Polygroup Ball Region, and because it's a polygroup, it'll do both sides, and you could just keep doing that, both sides, and then you can go over here and you can say Q Mesh Polygroup Ball, and then hold down Shift, and again, it's doing it to both sides because there's polygroups on both sides, and we'll do another Inset Polygroup Ball, do another Inset, and then do another Q Mesh Polygroup Ball, hold down Shift, and there you go. Now if I want to make this nicer, and go down here to my dynamic, so go down here to crease, we'll do a crease tolerance, hit D for dynamic, and then that's going to be dynamic subdiv. So dynamic crease level of say 3, smooth subdiv of 4, but this is why I have my have my custom menu, so it's all right here. And then I can go in here with maybe a crease edge, maybe crease these two edges, and then if I want to, I can hold down Alt and I can make these round if I want to. If I want this to be split around this, if I want this to be like move back maybe and it's gonna like split around, what we can do is we can do Shift D to go out of dynamic mode, insert multiple edge loops and just put one right down the middle, and then we'll say bevel edge loop complete, and then we can go through here, we can try doing like Q mesh a single poly and just pull this down, and then do another crease, turn on D for dynamic, and then just go through here and we can say, you know what, let's go ahead and crease this edge here and this edge here, and we're in good shape. We'll go ahead and crease these bottom two here. So there's one way. You can just use basic Z modeling functionality to go through and have a little bit of fun modeling all these little doodads and stuff to whatever you need. This stuff up here was the exact same thing. The only difference was if I just quickly go through here, I say cylinder of 12 right here, and it's already got dynamic turned on because I'm inserting it onto another object that has dynamic turned on. So I'm going to go ahead and do a split mask points, do Shift D, and then I've got this cylinder here. And then if I want to do like, I want to have say a bunch of cylinders of different sizes, I'm holding down Control, and again this time I'm going to hold down Alt and just shrink this one, and then hold down Control to make a copy, and then we'll just move this one down here, and again we'll make this even smaller, so we'll hold down, start scaling this way, and then hold down Alt. So now we have 3 cylinders on here, and then these maybe will be the cylinders I want to kind of go through and say like, let me say bevel this edge here, and we can just tap to get the exact same bevel, and maybe on this one I want to do insert multiple edge loops interactive elevation. We'll go ahead and like maybe round this one out, and then we can go through here and say inset polygroup ball region. In fact, let's do polygroup island, so we just do this polygroup island here, and then we'll say Q mesh polygroup ball or polygroup island if we want to play it safe, and then hold down Shift. So that can be how we detail all this stuff up. And then and then we want to put a ring around this. So what we can do is, again, we're just going to borrow this geometry. We're going to duplicate this off, hold down Control Shift, and we'll just use Select Lasso to grab this ring, and this ring. Control Shift drag to invert that selection. Geometry modified topology delete hidden. Let's go down here to display properties double. Don't do flip, just do double. So now we can see where we need to bridge these. So I can go through here and I can say, let's hold down Alt, and we'll go ahead and delete these faces. So hold down Alt and Paint, and then hover over a face and go delete a single poly. And now we can go through here and we can say bridge edges. We can bridge this one to this one, and it's like, oh, you know, I wanted to bridge this one. No big deal. Just go to Insert Single Edge Loop, hold down Alt, that'll delete that edge loop. So now you can go through here, you can get rid of these edges here, and then we're going to bridge these. So we can say, you know what, I don't need any of these, and I don't need any of these. So we can go through here and we say delete a poly, and then we're going to say bridge edges here to here, oops, here to here, and then bridge edges here to here. And there's a couple different ways. You can go through here and do insert single edge loop and hold down Alt and delete these if you wanted to bridge those two, or you can go through here and you can say collapse poly loop, and you can just collapse it back to those polygons. So this looks fine. Hit Control W, turn off double, make sure we're pointed the right way, and now just QMesh polygroup ball, pull out, and now you've got that shape, again borrowing from that pre-existing geometry.